Hello, welcome to my channel. If you're here for the first time, welcome back if you've been following. So this week we have another series. There's extra months in March, so normally I just want to do like one series a month, but this time we get two. So yeah, you guys know how this works. I kind of summarize the book, tell you what I'm thinking, give it a rating. So I decided to read the Inheritance Game series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. There are 6 books. So I'm going to kind of read this summary and then get my thoughts on it. Avery Grams has a plan for a better future, survive high school, win a scholarship, and get out. But her luck changes in an instant when billionaire Tobias Hawthorne dies and leaves her virtually an entire fortune. The only catch? Avery must move into the sprawling mansion full of secret passageways, riddles, and codes. Unfortunately for Avery, Hawthorne house is also occupied by the family that was just disinherited. This includes the 4 Hawthorne grandsons, dangerous, magnetic boys who grew up in every expectation that one day they would inherit billions. Her heir apparent, Grayson, is convinced that Avery is a con woman and has determined to take her down, but his brother Jameson views her as their grandfather's last hurrah. A twisted riddle, a puzzle to be solved. Caught in a world of wealth and privilege, with danger around every turn, Avery will have to play the game herself, just to survive. So, yeah, this book, Avery Grams, she's a normal girl, going to high school, living with her sister, because her mom is passed and her dad's a deadbeat, I guess. Her words, not mine. When she's called to the principal's office, and there's Grayson Hawthorne saying, we've been trying to contact you, we need you to come to the will reading. And she's like, what? Turns out her sister Libby had been hiding these letters. She had been contacted about a will reading, but she thought it was spam. So they go to the will reading. Avery thinks, oh, this guy's just gonna leave me some money, but she doesn't know why. She doesn't know this person, so she doesn't really know what to expect and why she's at the will reading. Well, it turns out he gives everyone else that little tidbit of money, and then he leaves everything else there, and she's like, what? So yeah, the mystery of this book is figuring out why, because like the back of the book said, there's only this book the will is in is called probate until the regulations, the things have been filled. So she has to live there a year, and she can't kick out any of the family that lives there unless they do something to earn it. Right, there has to be a good reason that she just kicks them out. She is allowed only 3 days a month. We're only allowed to stay outside of the house 3 days a month. There is a little bit of romance sprinkled in with this. I do say at the end of this book, they left the bigger mystery. You don't, in this book, figure out entirely why she's left, but you do in the next one. But, yeah, it ends with a mystery. There is some mild language, so I would give this, honestly, if it wasn't really language, 5 out of 5. So maybe I'm just going to say 5 out of 5, even with the mild language. These are fast paced, so I was surprised how quickly I could read them. Like, honestly, I started last Saturday and I read all of these in a week because they were so good. So yeah, that's the first one, 5 out of 5. Oh, and this is told from Avery Grams' perspective. The second one is The Inheritance Legacy. So this is the summary. Overnight, Avery Grams went from sleeping in a car to a billionaire heiress, now ensconced in a world of opulence, riddles, and danger and family secrets. Avery is on the hunt for one person who might hold the answers to all of her questions, including why eccentric billionaire Tobias Hawthorne left his entire fortune to Avery, a virtual stranger, instead of to his daughters and 4 grandsons. Grayson and Jameson Hawthorne pull Avery in different directions, and she works through puzzle after puzzle. Nothing is as it seems, and it's getting harder to tell who her allies are and who will stop at nothing to see Avery out of the picture by any means necessary. So, at the end of the first one, it ends with a message, so-and-so is alive. You're like, what? So this book is figuring that out. Yeah. Again, 5 out of 5. Told from a perspective. I mean, I don't know more what to say about it. Again, it was fast-paced, and I like the mystery. And I also like that this series is not murder. I feel like a lot of mysteries are murder. And so these are fascinating. Like, yeah. Why she's left in here, and it's just when you're getting this person's alive and you get told all these mysteries. So yeah, that's kind of the Hawthorne legacy. Third one is The Final Gambit. It says, to inherit billions, all Avery Graham has to do is survive a few more weeks living in the Hawthorne house. The paparazzi are dogging her. Every step, financial pressures are building. Danger is a fact of life, and the only thing getting Avery through it all is the Hawthorne brothers. Her life is intertwined with them. She knows their secrets, and they know her. But as the clock ticks down to the moment Avery will become the richest teenager in the world, troubles arises in the form of a visitor who needs her help, and whose presence in Hawthorne House could change everything. It soon becomes clear that there is at least one puzzle to solve, and Avery and Hawthorne brothers are drawn into a dangerous game against an unknown powerful player. So yeah, somebody comes into play in the second book, and then they show up in this one, and it's a mystery of why they're there and trying to figure out what the thing Avery was left. Because I forgot to mention in the second book, Avery was left something. In this book, they're trying to figure out what it is and why she was left it. Again, 5 out of 5, really fast-paced, told from the perspective of Avery. So, doing research, they called this a trilogy. So, I think these 3 are the actual, like, three books. And then the other 3 that I'm going to talk about are just, I don't want to say backstory is the right thing. It's just different. It's not really intertwined with these in per se. I don't know, it's hard to explain. You just have to read them to understand what I'm talking about. Like you still have needed to read these 3 to know what the rest is going on. But that part of the mystery, I guess, it's ended. Avery knows everything about why she was chosen. But yeah. But this one is called The Brothers Hawthorne, and this one is told from Jameson Hawthorne and Grayson Hawthorne's perspective. There are 2 different stories. So you have Jameson here, Grayson here, and they're both doing their own thing. It says, Grayson was taught from the cradle to put family first. When his half-sisters find themselves in trouble, he swoops in to do what he does best, take care of the problem, efficiently, effectively, mercilessly, and without getting bogged down in emotional entanglements. So yeah, I guess I just gave it away, but in the third one, Grayson meets his father. He finds out he has half-sisters, so that's his portion of this book, is helping his sisters, trying to figure out what's happening with them. Jameson is a risk taker, a sensation seeker, a player of games. He can't resist a challenge when his mysterious father appears and asks for a favor to infiltrate the most exclusive underground gambling club in London, and with an impassive game of greatest stakes. Luckily, Jameson Hawthorne lives for the impossible. So that is his story. He's playing this game. Jameson meets his dad. His dad asks him to play this game, so he's playing that game. Grayson's helping out his sisters, and it's told from their perspective. So each chapter jumps back and forth. So it says chapter 38, but Grayson, right? It'll tell you who's narrating. I will say it took me longer to read this, but it was still good. But I think the different perspectives and the jumping back and forth kind of threw me off. I don't know. Instead of having a bigger book, she could have just made them like 2 smaller books. But anyway, that's that. Okay, the other 2 I ordered. Well, okay, the one I tried. This one is on its way. But, so, I'm just going to show you the pictures. Games Untold. So this is kind of, I don't want to explain this. These, I guess I want to say backstories are the right word. There's several mini stories. So, the first story is the night in Prague. So, in the Brothers Hawthorne, something, Avery knows that something happened. Jameson in Prague comes back with a cut, but he won't say. She doesn't know. So this is the story of what happened in Prague for him. So that one kind of jumps between, they'd be like, the morning after the Prague incident, and then chapters 1, 2, 3 will jump back to show how they got up to there. Which again, I don't know, the jumping was kind of hard, but it was still good. The next portion here is the same backwards and forwards. So this story is about Hannah's mom. Not Hannah. It's about Avery's mom, Hannah. That's why I said Hannah, because Hannah is the same forwards and backwards if you spell it. So that's kind of her mom's story. And yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but it brings into play Avery's birth certificate in one of the books. And so it kind of explains how that happened. The next portion is the cowboy and the goth. So this is Nash's and Libby's story. So you see throughout the books, it's kind of hinted that they're doing things together, like going to Costa Rica for Avery to do different things. So this is kind of like their story and how the time that they spent together passes. So you learn that. And then 5 times Xander tackled someone and the 1 time he didn't. So it's a little bit more about Xander. So a lot of these chapters, there's just moments that you don't see that now you're getting to see in this one. So it's kind of interesting. So the next portion is just like a Christmas story. It's the Hawthorne version of Secret Santa. It's pretty epic. So, and then the last section is Nash's bachelor party. So I'm probably giving you a lot of hints, but I figured I'd go through that. It was good. It filled in a lot of blanks. So just know that, yeah, this one's a lot of short stories, but really all these are 5 out of 5. So yeah, go read that one. Last one is The Grandest Game. So yeah, The Grandest Game. So I'm not gonna spoil all of it, but one of the things that Avery decides to do with the money is create a game that the Hawthorne brothers and her will design, and they'll invite people to play for a certain amount of money. Yeah, that's all I'm going to do because I don't want to give all of it away. So this is year 2. So I don't know what happened to year 1. They never talk about that. But this is the 2nd annual games. And so there's 8 players, and it's pretty good. So you get to meet the players, and they all have a connection somehow to the Hawthorns, which, you know, Avery and the Hawthorne brothers, that's not a coincidence. Well, besides Grayson, because he's the one who's going to be there making sure all the rules are followed. So he did not help in the planning. But yeah, so that's basically this. I'm just saying 5 out of 5, they were really good. Like, there's no lulls in this. Like, you could just, I think I read them all so fast. Like, I read all 6 of these in a week because it was just really hard to put them down. Yeah, some mild language, but I really do. There's one main choice that I didn't really like. And you guys can contradict me if you don't like this. But and this might be a spoiler, so stop now and just scroll to the end. But I am not a big fan of the Jameson-Avery pairing. I was kind of hoping she'd end up with Grayson. So, yeah, that is that. And that is my main problem. Other than that, I really had no beefs. And I mean, she writes it well. Like, Jameson and Avery are well together. And you think that after 6 books, I'd be okay with it. But that would be the main thing I would change. But the characters are all well written. I think I like the diversity of the Hawthorne brothers. I like Grayson's half-sisters. Yeah. Some of them, like Nash and Libby, are not in a ton. These books mostly center around Avery, Jameson, and Grayson. Xander's in there more. Alexander, Hawthorne. I also... There were some dead ends, like... So Avery's best friend was kind of in the first 2 books. And then I guess you kind of see in the... Not the Grandest Games. Wait, when is it? Games Untold. That Alexander kind of ends up with Max's friend, but then they never bring her back. So you're kind of like, oh, that's sad. But I guess she's not important to the story. I think these were meant to focus around Avery, Jameson, and Grayson. So those are only my kind of views, but I think I'm just more romance, and I know this is more for like the mystery piece of it. But Max was kind of a big part in the first 2, and now she's not in the rest. But I mean, I guess she did go off to college, so it makes sense that she would not be able to be as part of her life. So yeah, those are my big beefs. Read them. Even though there's mild language, I'm going to go 5 out of 5. But yeah, they're fast reads, good reads, fast paced, good character developments. Like, well, not developments, but just diversity of characters. And I like how you don't, like, everything just kind of ends up, like, once you figure out the mystery, like, duh, it makes sense. But before, you're like, how do all these pieces go together? So I really like that. So read them. And thank you for watching. Please, if you like this, give it a big thumbs up. Hit that like. Oh, well, I already said thumbs up. Hit that notification button and subscribe button. And please leave your comments. I'd love to hear from you, especially about the whole Jameson-Avery pairing, since that might only be me. I mean, I have nothing against Jameson. I really like Grayson. He's my favorite Hawthorne. I just have to say that. I have a favorite. And it is Grayson. But yeah. Leave your comments. I'd love to hear your opinions on these if you've read them. And I'd love to hear any suggestions, as always, that you have. So, until next time, bye.